Hey, welcome to the newest episode of the Articulate Ox podcast. I am your host, Soma79. Thank you so much for joining me today. My guest today is, I believe this is for the third time, we have Wordplay, the Flyest MC. Wordplay is the man. He is Juneau, Alaska's finest battle rapper. All around nice guy. I love talking to this dude. So this is going to be a two-part episode. We decided we were going to talk about the 5 most influential hip-hop albums for each of us. So we both made our lists, and we talk about each album here. The interview goes for about 2 hours, so it's about 1 hour per episode. And so Wordplay and I believe will both be in San Antonio and Austin, Texas, 420 weekend to perform. So hopefully that's all going down. I'm supposed to get my tickets later today, so hopefully there's no problem getting a decent flight. But I think we're going to be down there in San Antonio, so come check us out. Check out our Instagrams and stuff. My cat is really interested in getting involved in this. So I hope you enjoy the episode with my man Wordplay. Go follow him on social media and all that stuff, and follow Soma79 everywhere you go. All right, see you next week. Peace.
I just aim, score, and celebrate. Elevate, electric, but money is what I generate. Illustrate, do nothing but draw. It's like I meditate, cause I be closing both of my eyes in all these different states. Intimidate, man, all these rappers about to know why you eliminate. Some of your dudes gon' have to go. Was the class clown, but now ain't no longer a joke. I'm like Nicola, the joke about to be one of them ghosts. Man, I'm too slick, yo, chill.
Hey, welcome to the newest episode of the Articulate Ox podcast. I am your host, Soma79. I have one of my favorite guests back with me today, Wordplay, the Flyest MC. What is going on today, man?
Yo,
Juneau,
Wordplay, third
Alaska's
time.
finest. Third time, the first repeat, I think.
Yo, I'm like Michael Jordan with this podcast shit.
Sweet, man.
But I mean,
And
I'm
here
always
we
down
are
to
in
be
NBA
on.
All-Star Weekend.
Yep. Like, I don't know who's winning. I don't even know if that's today, but
Yeah, I think the dunk contest or something is tonight. I don't know, man. I don't
Oh,
know.
all
I can't
right.
keep track of this shit. Can't keep track. I don't think I can name more than I don't know if I can name more than 3 players in the NBA. I don't know.
Oh, damn.
I
Yeah,
don't follow this shit.
I've been more into UFC right now. I was gonna watch today's pay-per-view after this.
Oh shit.
So
Nice, man. All right. Well, let's get right to it. I mean, so we're let's talk a little bit though first about what you going on. You had mentioned that you and I are both probably going to be in Texas, it seems, for a show
yeah,
or a concept at the end of April. We'll probably already have that information released then, but we're still working on pulling that together. But looks like we may be down there. So
yep.
sweet.
San Antonio. I think he
Yes.
called it Hemfest or
I
something.
believe so, over 420 weekend.
Yeah, San
So that would be
Antonio.
very
Then
cool.
and then the next day, Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, my first time in Texas. So
Oh, really? I've never been to Texas before. It is it's
nah.
Texas. I don't want to consider I'm going there in like 2 months. I gotta be careful what I say. But
I mean, I heard everything's bigger, so let's see.
no, yeah. So just watch Friday Night Lights. You'll figure it out.
I
I know
bet.
everything about your state from watching Northern Exposure. So
I
you remember that? You ever heard of that show?
I think I've heard of it, but I don't think I've ever watched it.
It was a show from like the early 90s, that basically about a doctor from New York who moves to Alaska, and it's just all the kooky stuff that like he experiences in this, classic.
I bet.
It's a 90s shit. So you working on a tour, you said?
Yes. So I will actually be going on tour with Alaska Red.
Oh, no shit.
Um, so we were actually planning a DDE tour. We've never toured before, so we were like, "Oh shit, how do we do this?" And then all of a sudden, Alaska Red hits me up. He's like, "Yo, I really want you guys on this upcoming tour during the summer." And we were already planning a summer tour, so we were like, "Oh shit, we've never toured before. Can you teach us?" He's like, "Yeah." So like it worked
Nice.
out. So yeah, we'll be going on tour starting in May. Our first show will be in Juneau, and Alaska Red got a 6-star Live from the North DDE. It's gonna be dope.
That's awesome. So what cities you visiting?
So we're going statewide first. And depending how that goes, we might go to West Coast. But yeah, like Anchorage, Fairbanks, Ketchikan,
Sweet.
Juneau.
That's
But yeah,
awesome, man.
it's gonna be
Yeah,
dope.
that's dope, man. I've been wanting to hit Alaska right up too because I've been following his stuff for a while now, and I just, you know,
Yeah, he's a super cool guy. Actually, we're actually doing an album with Killer Priest.
no shit.
Uh,
Yeah, me and Red were featured on his next album. So
Wow,
it's
that's
it's gonna be dope.
amazing, man. Yeah, is Killer Priest living out there now?
Nah, I think he's in LA right now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if he lives there. I think he's just there, but I think he still lives in New York.
Oh no shit. Cool.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome, man. Wu-Tang forever, man. It's
Yo,
that dude's a heavy hitter.
I
Um,
just can't believe that's happening. So
isn't it nuts, dude, when sometimes the shit just falls in your lap and you're just like, oh, now this is happening, I guess. This is a new
I'm just like,
reality.
hey,
Yeah. You're just like, yeah, I know. It's
I
wild.
mean,
Well,
yeah.
well earned too, man. I mean, it's like you've got nothing you haven't earned, and I'm sure there's a lot more in the future. So,
Hey,
you
appreciate
know.
that.
Cool, man. So, all right, well, we're gonna talk about our top five, personal top five albums. I figured we'd probably just go back and forth with them. I picked ones that I had the vinyl of, so I have the actual albums of mine here, and I actually snuck in an honorable mention that ties into one of them, but because it's my fucking show. So, so I don't know. I guess I figured this would be kind of fun. We're obviously from different hip hop generations, but you really know all your stuff. So I'm very curious what it is for you. Mine has a pretty wide range here. So yeah, do you want to start off? Or do you want me to start off?
I mean, we could do like, you want to do like, wait, is yours in order or like you're just gonna
No,
name
mine
five?
isn't really in order. My brain doesn't function that far.
I
But
mean, you wanted, I could do one and then you could do
yeah,
one
that's
and
what I
we
was
just do
thinking.
like
Yeah, do you
that.
want to go first?
Yeah. All right. So before I say my first album, I just want to say to all you old heads, I was born in '97, so
When I
don't be
graduated high school.
don't be disappointed. I listen to everything, but this is influential albums to me. And again, I was born in '97,
Yeah.
so I'm Tupac and Biggie were already gone. So
Yeah. I have a similar disclaimer I love Paid in Full, but it didn't make my list. In Criminal Mind, it didn't make my list, even though yes, they should be on everybody's list. But
and to ease it, I wore a Tupac hoodie, so don't be
very nice.
mad.
Tupac isn't on my list either, though. I would say Machiavelli. I had made a top 10 list. I was going to do an episode myself of top 10 just to run
Yeah.
whatever. And Machiavelli album was in the top 10, didn't make my top five. So
Bet. All right, well, I think I'm gonna go with I got mine in like a timeline. So
all right.
I think my very first influential album to me, and we said this in the last podcast, the first rapper I ever heard was Nelly. So Nelly released like 2002. First album I ever bought, and fucking Nelly was just the guy that got me into hip hop. So
Yeah.
I just thought he was so cool. I watched Country Grammar on. I mean, that wasn't on that album, but um, I saw that on like BET or MTV or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, once the next album, Nelly album came out, I was like, Mom, I need this album. Hot in Here's going crazy. Like he got Kelly Rowland on there. Like, so I was like, yo, like it was mostly just like his swagger that got me.
He is
Like his
like, I think
swag.
we talked about this before, that it's like when I hear the word swagger, it's like bullshit if you're not talking about Nelly. Nelly is when you say
Yeah.
swagger, he's the one that it's not a joke one. It's like he is hip hop swagger as far as I'm concerned. Like,
I mean, yeah, the sound, the look,
yeah,
like
he made
yeah,
wearing a band-aid look cool.
yeah, like all this like just like I wanted to get cut in the face. Like that's
Yeah.
like but yeah, bro, like Nelly was just that guy that I thought he was like a superhero to me. He was just so cool. I feel like everyone at the time wanted to be Nelly. So
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
mean,
put
it's
that on my
still
list.
isn't he now back with Ashanti or something? I think people still want to be Nelly.
Yeah. Yeah, hey.
And
Like
two, actually, just today I heard I for some reason I knew you were gonna say this. You mentioned Nelly before, so Nelly was on my mind, and like he
yeah.
was on. I heard Nelly on a TV commercial today, and it was that song that we talked about before. The if you wanted to ride, I never always
Ride
forget
with
the
me.
lyrics to that song.
Yeah.
That song it always makes me laugh because it's like that song is clean like most of the way through. In the last 30 seconds, whoever that last rapper is, just dropped this like "F me good, S me," and I'm just like,
Yeah.
dude, you knew this was a hit. This song was a hit from the second the first note was played. He was just,
It's
I don't know. It was
City
cracking me up.
Spud, bro. City
Oh, is
Spud
that who
screwed
that
up.
is? Yeah.
Yeah.
St. Lunatics earning their name. I just
They-
always thought that was funny. But that
He's
song,
like,
that's still going strong.
He's like, I'm gonna spice it up real quick.
I know. I hope everybody got paid right on that song because it's like, you know. But yeah, dude. Was that the album? Is Nellyville the album with I'm Number One on it?
Yes, I think that's the first track on there.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
love that song.
yeah, I do too. I think that wasn't an official single. It was a promo single. I don't know what the difference is, but
Yeah,
like,
who knows?
um, but yeah, it was technically the first single to be released, and then Hot in Here just kind of blew it out the water. So they were just like, "That's a promo single," like,
Yeah.
so. But yeah, I remember that drop in the music video, and then like, there's a part where he like interrupts like the song, and he's like fucking in a phone call or some shit. But
That was the thing
yeah, that's
back in
a
the day, is like interrupting the video for like some like skit or something with some like rapper who can't act. I mean,
yeah.
he's different. I mean, he can act. I mean, I liked him in Longest. I want to see what that album sold because I wouldn't be surprised if that album went diamond. Like
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think he outsold M too.
probably. I
Uh,
mean, because they were. I remember looking at. Oh, he sold over 6 million for that. So
damn.
so yeah, but like he's one of the top selling rappers of all time because I was looking at a list one day and I was surprised he was on it until I thought about it. I'm like, oh yeah, he definitely belongs on it. Like,
Yeah, I think he's number 5 in the 2000s.
yeah,
Yeah,
which
because
was the
like,
time because like that's when I mean that was the hottest time the record industry
yeah,
was the end of the 90s, early 2000s. You know.
because I believe it was like M, Jay-Z, Kanye, 50 above him.
Yeah, I
Sounds
think
about right.
that's
Yeah,
yeah. And then it's like you could probably throw in people like Dre and Diddy, but it's like that's not they're
yeah,
more producers, so it's like, you know,
yeah.
but I don't know. So yeah,
But yeah,
it's
that's my number one. Just my number one is the guy who influenced me to like rap.
yeah, and
So,
it's funny, I can kind of see a little bit of that stuff. I mean, not that I think you're like, you know, like aping him or anything, but I can see a
bro,
little bit of
I'm
that
literally
style in
wearing
you.
Air Force Ones, bro.
All
Like,
right, all
I'm
right.
literally
Right,
wearing Air
man.
Force Ones. So Nelly's my guy.
Do you remember like when they banned that video from MTV because they said it was
Oh, but
basically a
tip
commercial?
drill. That was
Yeah.
tip drill.
Tip drill?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is
So,
that?
'cause the wait, are we talking about so Nelly had a video called Tip Drill.
Oh, I think they
And
buried the Air Force One video because it said it was basically just a Nike commercial.
oh, I
But
thought
then they
because
didn't ban the My Adidas video for Run DMC because that was an Adidas commercial, but whatever. But what's Tip Drill?
oh, okay, we're about to go. So BET used to have this thing called BET Uncut, which
Yeah,
is so they could cuss during the music videos and have more provocative stuff. So
thank God for
Nelly
that.
Nelly decided to make a video for his song Tip Drill, and Tip Drill is slang for a girl with an ugly face but fine body. And in the video, he had naked women everywhere, like
Classic.
naked. And there's a scene where like he has a credit card and he slides it to a girl's pussy.
Oh, this sounds. I do remember hearing about this.
And I was like, damn, I remember watching that as a kid too. And I was like, and I was like, damn, okay,
Yeah,
I know what that is now.
we
Like,
had this or Mix a Lot, Baby It Got Back video when you had that.
yeah, hey, see, Nelly was a life lesson for me.
Yeah, it is
Like,
funny. I had some of those too. Like I had mentioned before, this one almost made my list. But Ghetto Boys, We Can't Be Stopped. When I heard that tape when I was a kid, I had to put it away for 6 months. I'm like, I'm not ready for this portion of life yet. It was so fucking intense.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's crazy. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, that's 2000s hip hop.
yeah, man. All right, well, I'm gonna talk about my number one. This one could have been the first album by this group or this one, but I remember buying this album, Check Your Head by the Beastie Boys.
Ooh,
And this is I often cite as my favorite album of all time. Um,
that one has passed the mic on it.
yes, it has passed the mic. So this album for
Yeah.
me, I remember I was a big fan of the Beastie Boys were the first hip hop, one of the first hip hop tapes I ever had, Licensed to Ill. It was one of the first exposures to rap music I ever had. And then I got Paul's Boutique, which now is a masterpiece, but like a lot of other people back then, just they weren't into it. It kind of was a
Yeah.
big flop. And like I think I only listened to it once or twice for like 10 years, and then everybody in my high school caught on to it at the same time. But when this album came out, the Beastie Boys were basically forgotten about. And I remember reading in Spin magazine in like 92 when this album came out that the review said they won't sell as many tapes as Vanilla Ice or Hammer, but they'll have their like dedicated fan base or whatever. Like basically saying like the
Damn.
Beastie Boys days are over, but their fans will like this. They're no Hammer, they're no Vanilla Ice, and here we are, like, you know, unfortunately RIP MCA, but like they're still
Yeah.
legends to this day. And I remember watching this album too when this I learned this was coming out because I used to watch this show Pump It Up, which was like, because I didn't have cable, all I had was network TV, and there was a show called Pump It Up hosted by Dee Barnes, and she hosted this hip hop show that was on at like, I don't, some ridiculous hour, and I watched it in the 7th grade, and I was like, I saw the Crisscross Jump video like weeks before anybody else knew the song, and I was telling the kids at school, I'm like, this Crisscross group's gonna be huge, and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, they wear their clothes backwards. And like they're like, you're a fucking idiot. And then like 3 weeks later, they were fucking huge. I remember calling the radio
Yeah.
station here playing, saying, play Crisscross, and they're like, we don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm like, it's on Dee
Damn.
Barnes' show. And then they played the Pass the Mic video for this, and I was like, the fucking Beastie Boys are back and they're Irish now, because like in that video they were like whatever, but like this album's fucking amazing. Like it is.
Yeah.
It has so many left turns, and it redefines to me what a hip hop album is. It's like there's guitars on this, there's full songs with no rapping. It's just I know it's cliche for Whitey McWhite over here to be picking like, you know, the Beastie Boys, but like they had a huge major influence on me. And not only that, but their punk rock roots are also, I'm a huge punk rock fan. It's like it's the idea of being able to bring like a lot of like hip hop that I grew up on. They were sampling the people that were from their like people they grew up on, like Parliament and like, you know, James Brown and all that stuff. But you know, people like me and the Beastie Boys grew up listening to like punk and shit like that. So that's what we put into our music. And I don't know, fucking albums made. Check that.
Oh shit. Sorry, someone's knocking on the door.
Go for it, man.
Hi. Okay, where were we? Beastie Boys.
Beastie Boys, man. So what about you? What is your these guys, to me, I remain fans of them forever. Like all their music is amazing. I believe there's some unheard music eventually coming out. I'm working on a project that I don't want to reveal yet because I think the name is too clever, that involves the Beastie Boys, but I came up with it the other day and I'm working on it. Like so what about you? Do you have any thoughts on them? Or
Oh, I love the Beastie Boys. So like a lot of people, I remember when I was in high school and a lot of my teachers loved the Beastie Boys. But I ain't gonna lie, I hated the fact that they called them a rock band. Because to me, they were rap.
Yeah.
So like when they were like Beastie Boys, a rock band, I'm like, no.
It's because of Sabotage, because Sabotage was played on like rock radio.
Yeah, Sabotage.
And that's what, you know, a lot of people thought.
I feel that. And I mean, they had a lot of electric guitar in their beats and like it sounded rock. Yeah. But like, I was always like, no, they're rap. I always claimed like, I'm like, no, those are rappers. But yeah, I love the Beastie Boys. Is that the first album without Rick Rubin? Or
no, Rick Rubin was only on their first album. Their second album was done by the Dust Brothers, the guys who went on to do the Fight Club score and a bunch of other things. Because yeah, it was, and then this one was produced mostly by themselves with where they open up their label Grand Royal in California. Yeah, and that's when they were for the rest of their career right there, and most of their career. Yeah.
I mean, my favorite Beastie Boys, I believe, was actually Paul's Boutique was the one where they're in like the sardines thing? Or is that a different one?
No, that's Hello Nasty.
Hello Nasty. That's probably my favorite one. I just like they're just like rhyming on that.
Mixmaster Mike, man. That one's fucking
killer. Yeah. But yeah, I fuck with the Beastie Boys. Like they're like when people like name like their top like white rappers, I'm like, yo, y'all forget the Beastie Boys. Ain't none of you are here unless the Beastie Boys.
I know. And it's like they also too. I was talking to someone about this, and they're like, no one else could get away with rapping the way they rap. Like, there's no three other people. Like if Pharoah Monch tried to rap the way the Beastie Boys rap, he'd be laughed off stage. But it's like, like it's just they have a style that's so uniquely their own, and it's just I don't know. It's yeah. I like.
You can name that sound. Like when you play it, it's like, oh, that's BC's. Because like even their voices, like they all have distinct voices. You know, each member. You got MCA with like the more raspy, like the deeper tone. You got fucking I believe Ad Rock was the one with like the high ass
Yeah,
voice.
yeah, the one that sings on Sabotage, and you have Mike D, like the cool one. I have a friend who he was a huge we grew up as huge Beastie Boys fans, and now he lives in Brooklyn. He's like, I'm behind Mike D in line for daycare drop off all the time. I'm just like living the dream, motherfucker.
But
And
that's
he said
dope.
to this dude mentioned to me at one point, Bjork lived like right near him, and I'm like, does she dress like Bjork every day? He's like, oh yeah, she's in full swan dress like all the fucking time. So
That's dope. That's
that
dope.
amused me. But yeah, so I like the pictures. It's funny they mentioned they're all on here playing instruments. This is the first time they ever, since like their punk days, they ever really acknowledged them even playing instruments. You know, but
Damn,
of course they
that's
didn't produce
dope.
their first couple of albums, so like, and they got back in like I think they had a skateboard ramp back on these days. But yeah, and I'd say too, the other thing that really influenced me with the Beastie Boys is that like you could tell that sometimes they were using like shitty microphones for the sake of using shitty microphones, and it made me realize like, yeah, if you, as long as you like work it right, you can kind of use, well, you can make shitty stuff work as long as you sort of know how to like, work it or whatever. So that was a
Yeah.
important lesson learned at a young age, and it's not always about the equipment. So you know,
Yeah, dope. I feel like I should have like brought my vinyls. It's
I
like
I just
you're just
happened.
like Beastie Boys, and I'm just like so Nellyville. They just like pull it off.
Sorry, I should have.
But yeah, I are we going into my
Yeah,
second
let's
one?
go for it, man. If I have that on vinyl, I'll grab it. Whatever your next one is.
I bet. Hold on, okay, I don't think. All right, I didn't know if someone was coming in. All
Your desserts
right,
here.
we about to jump into another white rapper. So after I was influenced by Nelly, so Nelly got me into hip hop. The guy that got me into writing was Eminem. So I've I've always known about Eminem. So like after I started listening to Nelly, I found Eminem because they would play like Nelly's video and then they would play Eminem's video. And the first one I watched was the real Slim Shady. But the first album I bought, my first Eminem album I bought was fucking fucking why am I blanking? Eminem Show.
Eminem show.
You got Eminem Show?
Oh yeah, recently acquired actually. I
Bet.
wanted to get this for a long time, and I found it someplace in Providence for less than I would thought. But yeah, Eminem show. Fucking
Hey.
this album's amazing, man. It has my favorite,
Yeah.
I would say some of my favorite Eminem songs of all time on it.
Yeah. So like I know like everyone's favorite M album is like mostly like the first two, but
Yeah,
this one was the first one like I bought, and I just feel like fucking I just like more songs on this one. Like
me too.
I'm I mean
This
like
fulfilled the promises of the first two albums, as far as I'm concerned.
I the owner of the place is here.
That's all right. Need to pause or?
I, no, we good.
All right,
But
cool.
yeah, so yeah, bro, like I mean, watching the videos again, like most of my like how I bought albums was if I watched their video on like MTV or some shit.
Yeah.
But like I watched the Without Me was like the first single on there.
Yes.
And then yeah, like and then that video I just loved because like I was a comic book fan too, so like he was like in that Robin get up
Yeah.
and
It was
dude
like
the
it was so funny too that almost anyone else would have made themselves Batman, but Eminem knew to make himself Robin.
yeah, and like Dre was like Blade on there.
Yeah. I think he was
Something like
Batman,
that.
wasn't he?
I mean, he wasn't wearing like a bat suit. He just had like sunglasses and like a trench coat.
Oh, okay. Maybe he was Blade.
Maybe I don't like it looked like Blade to me, or maybe he was just trying to be like Men in Black or something. But like yeah, like watching that video, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then like the rhyming on there is crazy. Like for every song. Like I feel like
Yeah.
to be honest, like if we're talking about M's rhyming ability, like if you were talking about straight up like, oh, this is prime Eminem,
This
I
is it.
feel like Eminem show.
It was
Marshall Mathers
this
help.
into 8 Mile. It was because he won the
Yeah,
because I think
yeah,
he was working on this and I think 8 Mile at the same time, and he won the Oscar for that. So this really was like
yeah.
peak Eminem, I think.
I mean, I feel like Marshall Mathers LP had like the best songs, like creative wise, but I feel like rhyming like the actual like lyricism is all an Eminem show. like Till I Collapse is
Yes.
crazy. Like yeah, all that shit's on there. I
Sing for
think
the Moment, which is one of the first songs I ever got
yeah.
either my parents to actually like, first rap songs ever, you know.
Dope.
Or like,
But
well, I actually
yeah,
remember my
that was
dad
a
saying, listen to the lyrics and actually feeling he related. It's just like interesting. It's like, that's this album broke some boundaries,
yeah, and like I think this is the first album he did a lot of the beats for too.
Yeah.
So yeah, he like this was the kind of the introduction of producer M.
I think he's very underrated as a producer too. He has his beats
Yeah.
have this very like cold Detroit sound. They're industrial, but they're really heavy hitting. Like, I don't know. I think I really like his production work. Like, he did some stuff with
Did
Nas
do
back
you
in
know
the
how he
day.
does do you know like how he like does that shit? Like he actually like writes the words first.
Really? Then he does the
Yeah.
beats.
Yeah, so he writes the words and then he would make a beat to like go around the words. And I was just like, what the fuck?
Hard.
I was like, yeah, like that's crazy. I mean, like I don't
Yeah.
even know how you like could structure a song like that, but that's
Yeah.
what he was on. And he was like, I think this is even though this is prime, like this was peak Eminem, this was also peak drugged out.
Yeah, that was
Like,
the thing too. The drugs I think
yeah,
became a bit too much because it's funny when the next album came out, which was Encore. I remember when that first single came out, I actually thought it was a joke. I literally was like, "No,
yeah,
he's gonna release the real single in a few days and say this is I feel so stupid thinking that now, but it was that bad.
yeah,
I forget what it was even called.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. It was
Oh,
bad.
just lose it.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, just lose it. Just lose it.
That's so that song is. I mean, I haven't heard that
Okay.
song in years, and I'm curious how it holds up. That
I remember when that came out too, and I was like, what the fuck is this bullshit?
yeah, that was
I
some rough shit.
yeah, I thought
I
that was
was so
fucking
like for me when Eminem came out, I was already in college, and like so like I was already like there was none of this. Oh, Eminem's gonna corrupt me. But like since you were younger, was it
yeah.
like it was like basically there was Marilyn Manson was gonna ruin everybody's kids, and then he passed the throne to Eminem, and then I think Limp Bizkit picked it up when they tried to burn down Woodstock or whatever. But like, was this shit seen as edgy and dangerous when you were a kid? But or by that time we'd
I
all seen
mean,
the world explode. Nobody gave a fuck.
so when growing up, I didn't know what the fuck like he was like saying really. Like it was kind of like the content wise, I was like I didn't know what these drugs were. I didn't know what the context of a lot of the subject matter he was talking about
Yeah.
besides like him killing his wife or some shit.
Which
Like,
I was like that with the Beastie Boys too.
like
I didn't get a lot of what the context, a lot of what they were saying either.
it was just like I was just more into like the rhyming and
Yeah.
like the fucking just the catchiness of like a lot of the songs and I'm just like fucking I was just grooving to that shit and he was
Yeah.
just like I mean the thing about Eminem though like with this album like so this influenced me to write but like I tried to I tried to write like this album so much that
Yeah.
when you first start and you try to write like your favorite rapper
Oh, I still have all my old
like
notebooks, and I went through them recently, and there was a
yeah,
lot of that.
bro,
Yeah.
like I feel like anyone who like was influenced by
I
Eminem,
got some wannabe Eminem lyrics in a notebook
yeah,
right
like
behind
you
me
just start
somewhere.
like rhyming words and it's just like dumb as fuck.
I
Like
know.
he'd be like, "Yo, I got my iPhone because that's my phone."
Yeah.
Like I got dry tones, and I would write like that. And I'm just like, "Ah, shit,
Well, that was
I'm
one of
not
the funny
Eminem."
things about early Eminem is he kept being like, "There's gonna be a million Slim Shadys," but there never really was. Like it was like
I
Bubba
mean,
Sparks.
there's a lot of wannabes though.
Right, but they
Like,
never. There was a lot of white rappers. I say myself included, considered itself like more accepted to be able to rap in terms of actually making it like big time. They never really came to like Mac Miller and like people like that. It was like oh
yeah.
Bubbles. It was like because there was never another. Right after he became big, there wasn't another one. It was like I don't know.
Well, I feel like the white rappers that like came after him that did gain notoriety because they weren't trying to be Eminem.
You're right, like Paul
Yeah.
Wall, like
Yeah, like they were on their own thing. But like I do hate when people try to go like the Eminem route, but they don't understand the content of what made Eminem
Right.
good. Like they would just think it's rhyming, and they would just rhyme with no no substance.
Yeah.
And like Eminem rhymes like that, but there's substance.
Right.
Like
That's the thing too. A
so,
lot of people think like, oh, Eminem sucks now. I'm like, I don't think you understand. Like, I think he's saying stuff that you don't get. He's making references
yeah.
that maybe like because you just fucking read I don't know what every day and just I don't know what because like but like
I mean, I do have like an opinion on like past Eminem versus
oh yeah we can
current
talk about
Eminem.
that actually because I have opinions too.
Yeah, so I don't like like Eminem is Mount Rushmore to me,
Yeah.
but I ain't gonna lie, like I know he's still lyrically there, but a lot of the songs like are
Yeah, the
just not
songwriting's
hitting.
not there, and when he had, and it's like
Yeah,
him. I've always said him on the hook is like Shaq shooting free throws. It's gonna go in about half the time, and half the time it's gonna be a brick. It's
yeah,
like
and
some of
I
it
feel
looks
like
dangerous bad.
yeah, I feel like he's got to work with more like producers and like younger rappers to like I don't know, like I feel like he's having a hard time adapting to the new era,
Yeah,
the new wave. Like it's just like I don't know. He's trying because he's been trying to rap on like more like modern beats, but it's just like it's just weird.
yeah,
Like I don't know. Maybe he has to go in there with Dre again and like,
yeah. I
but
know. It's like part of me wishes that like for a while you'd see him all like wearing all those t-shirts of like 90s hip hop acts like Paris and like
yeah,
EPMD. And I was kind of always hoping he would do like an album with like a song each with all of those guys, like Big Daddy Kane, like do those big
yeah,
collabs with these artists. Because it's like, I mean, what the fuck? It's like he doesn't have to make any more money. It's a dude, he's got it, his kids
yeah,
are grown up and like I guess married, some of them are getting it's like he's got a great life. It's like he should just be checking stuff off the bucket list, you know. And that
yeah.
seems
Like
like, you know, like
he
another song
should,
with
yeah.
Redman, you know.
Oh, that'd be fire. But yeah,
Yeah.
bro, it does piss me off when I see the track listing and I just see all these fucking like AAA like singers. Like I'm
Yeah,
like, bro, why are you doing a song with Ed Sheeran? Do a song with
I know.
do another song with like Lil Wayne. Go do a song with Ludacris or something.
Yeah,
Cameron. Like we want
yeah,
to see that. Like
I
we don't want
know.
to see you do a song with like I don't know Shawn Mendes or some shit. Like come
Right.
on, bro. Like
It's
you
weird that
hip
at this
hop.
point Eminem is still trying to cross over when it's like he really should be like he should be
He's
returning
the
to his roots.
yeah, he's the biggest. Like everyone knows who he is.
Yeah,
But like people are kind of turning on him because like I just feel like I don't know. I feel like he's having a hard time. I think he's like battle. I don't know. He has like this inner battle that's just like, okay, I need to be on the radio, so I'm gonna get like Rihanna on this shit. And then like, 'cause,
yeah,
dude, for a time he only had like he'll have like one guest feature and it'd be like Kendrick, but then it's like a country song. And it's just
yeah.
like, bro, what are you doing? Like,
I know.
but you have like your version, your modern version Eminem right there. Like, you do a hip hop song with him.
I do love that rap game. Is it called Rap Game? The song with him
Love
and
Game.
Luck. Yeah, I love that song. I haven't listened to that in a while, but I do really love that
I
song.
mean, yeah, it's cool. I just feel like
Is that the country song you're talking about?
it's. I mean, it's like it's not like country, but it kind of has like
Oh,
that.
I gotta think about that
Like,
through a new lens because I haven't heard that song in a long time. But like,
I
yeah.
mean, it's
But it is
definitely not
funny
like
too. It's like,
bar
do
for
you,
bar like rap song.
yeah. But like, do you remember that there's a Stan too? I totally because on that on Marshall Mathers too. Isn't there a sequel to Stan on that?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Uh,
totally forgotten on me.
I don't
I
know
brought
if
it up, but
that's. I don't know if that's on LP2.
maybe
I
it's
think that
not.
I think
Though
it's on
that
Music to Be Murdered by.
no, it's not on that because I listened to that recently because I don't have
Oh,
I don't have the
yeah.
LP2 on vinyl and I just
Is
listened to
it?
Music Me Murder, but I think it's on that because
Yeah.
Stan was on the first Marshall
Yeah.
Mathers.
Maybe it is on Marshall Mathers too. It's not called Stand 2, right? It
No,
doesn't
it's
have a real
not
name.
because they
It
tried
has
to
a different
hide that's
name.
what it was, but that's what when you find out what it is, I think later on. But like,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's
Yeah.
I don't know. It's he's definitely had some albums that are real clunkers. But yeah,
Yeah.
every once in a while though, like I love that song he did with Pink, the Won't Back Down. That's one of my favorite Eminem
Yeah.
songs, especially like a later era song. But yeah, you know.
Yeah. I like how I was just like the beginning of this conversation was just like, so this is one of my influential albums, and we're just like, man, Eminem, what the fuck,
I was
man?
just thinking
Like,
that. He's
but,
like
but no,
motherfucker.
Eminem. got me into writing. So he'll always have that. I just like today, like I'm critical. I'm only critical because he's one of my favorites.
Well, he's also
So
held up to an unfair standard because he basically he had a hot streak of 3 albums and culminating with 8 Mile and Academy Award that he so thought he wasn't going to win that he wasn't even awake when they called it. He was at home asleep, like when Barbara Streisand called his name. That like to compare anything, it's like you never get back to that. It's like Hulk Hogan trying
yeah.
to regain the era of the '80s. It's like which I guess he's been trying to do ever since. But like you know. It does
Yeah,
make you wonder though that it's like with people like we all love the Biggies and the Tupacs, but like, there was a point where Eminem became less interesting, even though he still almost became even technically probably more talented. He became less interesting. Like there wasn't like
yeah. So
anything
like
new mountains to climb.
I feel like when his bars are going like this, like his songwriting was going this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like
And
yeah, I
sometimes he
don't
found a
know.
good balance and sometimes he didn't.
Yeah.
But then there's Kill Shot. I fucking love Kill Shot.
Yeah, good shot was cool.
Yeah.
Like yeah, but
What's your favorite Eminem diss?
Eminem, get on your shit, Em.
Yeah, I
Get
know
on
for
your
sure.
shit. Favorite Eminem diss. Mm, shit. Fucking uh
I
well,
can't.
I think Nail in the Coffin.
That's a great one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the
Yeah.
Mariah Carey one too. I'm a huge Mariah Carey fan. I do
Oh,
love
wasn't that
the
is that
Warning, I think it's
Bagpipes?
called.
Oh, the
No, this
Warning.
was one that was this wasn't this wasn't on an album or anything. It was just like a white label disc.
Oh.
If you haven't heard this, you got to check it out. He goes into Mariah for like 3 minutes straight. It
I
is
bet.
wild. Like talking
That
about details of her house and stuff because like they dated for a short period of time. It is like it's something that in hindsight, as like someone who believes in women's rights and stuff, I'm just like, there's definitely some times with Eminem where I'm like, it's hard to go back and listen to some of that stuff because I don't want to hear him say like, the other F.
yeah,
It's like some of that stuff doesn't age well,
the
but
misogyny, bro.
yeah, you know.
But
So, so all right, my next one, oddly enough, I mentioned you before that I had to right before we are supposed to record this, I had to run out. This CD, the original one I bought in 1991 and 2, was actually right now currently in my CD player in my car. It was when I got in and turned the key today. It was in there, which is Digital Underground, Sons of the P.
oh damn.
Speaking of Tupac, actually, Tupac is on this album. This was back in the day where Tupac was in Digital Underground, and there is a picture of him on the back of the album, though it is really hard to see. He's one of these
Damn.
dudes.
Wait, is it same songs on this album?
No, same song is not, but he was on. He was on, I think, the first song on this album, and maybe one or two others. But yeah,
Yeah,
this
I don't think I've ever
has
heard this one.
this has No Nose Job, which for me, so that song to me, but Digital Underground. Well, I mentioned before, I didn't have MTV, but I was at my parents' friend's house and I was sitting there alone watching MTV, and the No Nose Job video by Digital Underground came on, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" My brain like exploded all over the fuck there, and like I was never the same again. And I was just like, oh, hip hop can be like this. It can be weird and bizarre, and you don't have to be like a gangster, and you don't have to be. And I was like, oh, like I could. It was like the moment I realized that there was probably a space for me because it was so fucking weird, and it was right there. And it was like the
Yeah.
Humpty Dance was obviously their biggest album of all time. Everybody knows the Humpty Dance is your chance to do the hump. But this album to me, I remember going to the record store and seeing the CD and just being fucking fascinated by it. And I remember like wondering, like being fascinated by the art and being like, what is happening like right here and right here? And I was like really interested in like what, and I tracked down the guy who took the photograph and tried to get him on the podcast, but he never wrote me back. Like, but it was only a
Yeah.
few weeks ago. So if you're out there, hit me up. I just was fascinated by this, and I didn't get it at the time, but Sons of the P was a reference to Parliament Funkadelic, because George Clinton is on this album a bunch, and this was really their
Mhm.
album where they really kind of established themselves as being hip hop's Parliament Funkadelic. And there are songs in this album that are 8 or 9 minutes long, which is pretty rare for a rap song, songs that are
Damn.
singles that are like 6 minutes long. And it's this is probably This album doesn't get talked about that much. It was pretty hard for me to find this. I think I had to order this from Spain because it wasn't on vinyl for very long, but it's always been a favorite for me. So
Damn. So does he bring back the Humpty Hump character, or is he
yeah.
like?
So what's interesting about that is I didn't back then. All I knew about them was like these pictures on the back, and you see Humpty Hump on the back, and I think Shock G is there too, like this sort of
Oh, damn.
superimposed. And I
Yeah.
didn't realize until so I was at the I didn't realize that it was Shock G and Humpty Hump were the same person until like the mid 2000s. I was at the Troubadour in West Hollywood seeing Murs and the Perceptionists, and I'm at the bar at the beginning of the show, and I'm just sitting there by myself getting a drink, and there's a big tall dude behind me macking on these two hot white chicks, and the voice, I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? I look at him, like, why do I know that guy? Couldn't figure it out. And then later on in the show, Murs is performing, and Humpty Hump comes out, and I was like, that was Shock G, and Shock G is Humpty Hump, and it was like literally that night that like I put it
Damn.
together. Then I'm like, oh shit. And that like so yeah, because he
That's
raps
dope.
as Humpty on a like No Nose Job is a song that's basically it's all Humpty and Money B. And actually there was a TV show Drexel's Class that I used to watch as a kid on Fox, like back in the very early days of Fox, that they were on a cruise and Digital Underground was the performer on the cruise, and they played No Nose Job. It's just this shit to me was like my ticket into hip hop. I was like, all right, I was gonna ride that coattail. So I'm like, all right, you can't tell me I can't be weird as fuck like these motherfuckers. Like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be pulling a gun
That's
on
dope.
you, but like I can shoot laser beams out of my hand like a motherfucker. So
Dope. Don't
yeah.
don't you have a song with Shock G now?
Well, so it's funny you mentioned that. So what happened with that is Shock G passed away a couple years ago. During that time, right, a few
Wait,
about a
oh, he's dead?
yeah, he passed
Oh
away.
yeah, he is dead. I remember seeing
Yeah.
that.
But what happened was
Oh.
so like I was in talks with his manager at the time. So I had reached out to his manager about a month or two before, and I was like, hey, love to do a song with Shock. Like I just found her on the internet. She wrote me back right away. She's like, look, he doesn't say yes to many things, but put together your best presentation and I'll put it in front of him, and I promise I'll like get you an answer or something like that. And I was like, oh, she seems super nice. So like, all right, I wanted to get this song together. I went out and got Raz Cass on it. And then Raz Cash was already on it. And then like I wanted to get someone else that wanted to be the best possible. So I was like, I'll get the other one, then bring Humpty on because he'll be. And then by the time that all happened, he passed away. And I wrote her
Damn.
back, and I'm like, that day, I'm like, sorry to hear. And she was like, he was the nicest man. It was heartbroken, obviously. And so that didn't happen. And then so cut to a few months ago, I was talking about Digital Underground online. My man Ab Till, previous guest, drew a dollar bill of this album cover for me, and then when I posted that, I think Young Hump, who played Shock G in the All Eyes on Me Tupac movie, he played him as the
Yeah.
actor, which Shock G was involved with that, and I think helped cast him and stuff, and kind of gave him
Yeah.
his blessing, from my understand. And he sort of took over, so you can see him in that movie playing Shock G. He took over sort of the persona, not really like so. Young Hump is supposed to be Humpty Hump's son, from what I understand, but not Shock G's son. So it's sort of like if you're the
Uh,
Dudley Boys, it's like this is my brother Devon, but like
Spike. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, who I once met in an airport bar, and he declined when I asked him to acid drop me off the bar. It was like 10 in the morning, and we were both drinking. He did not want to talk to me. He gave me a very limp wrist wrestler handshake.
Damn. All
But
right.
and so that's sort of the deal with that. But yeah, so I have a song with him, and so I did that a few weeks. I posted it, and I think I followed him on Instagram, and he like followed me right back, and then he's like, hey, I'm doing verses, and I'm like, hey, sign me up. I'm like, I'm not letting this. And literally it was done within a day, and like literally it felt, the weird thing about doing it, and I'm supposed to have him on the podcast, I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but like he was in Humpty Hump character the whole time. Like when I was messaging with him, he was talking like Humpty Hump would. And like he
Damn.
would send me like voice messages, but they were in the Humpty Hump voice. And it's like, so
Damn.
I'm like, it's for me, this weird thing is going on where it almost feels therapeutic because I missed out on this opportunity to possibly work with him. And now it's like I'm working I'm almost doing a song with like his ghost in some way, because it's like I feel like if I'd worked with Shock G, he wouldn't have been acting like Humpty the whole time. He would have been acting like Shock G and then performed
Yeah.
like Humpty. But this dude was just full on Humpty, and it was just like it was like and like the two couple days we're messaging were so fucking surreal, and it's just at the end of it, it felt like such like kind of a gift of closure that I didn't know that I need, because like I said, this shit was it's like I wouldn't be on here right now wearing fucking blue nail polish if like it wasn't for like, which is like a
Yeah.
reflection of who I am and who I want to be, if it wasn't for this weirdo shooting fucking purple out of his hands 30 years ago. So, man, do you have any thoughts on Digital Underground? Like any memories of them? Or I mean, they're probably before your
Yeah.
time, but
I mean, they are definitely before my time. I've found Digital Underground because I remember when I was doing, because as you know, I study a lot of hip hop, and I kind of like study in sections, right? So like I was doing in my own head study class. I was like, all right, I'm gonna study all these dance songs. So I found them through the Humpty Dance as one of the earlier kind of dance trends.
yeah.
So, and then I found out that Tupac was part of the group. I was like, oh shit, Tupac was part of this group. I never really listened to them like from top to bottom, but I've heard like a lot of their stuff. But yeah, like I always thought they were dope. I saw a lot of their videos. They were funny. And yeah, like fucking, they're also from the Bay, right?
Yeah, yes, they are. Where I will be going in about 2 days. I'll be out in San Francisco next week
Oh damn,
for
I
only
bet.
only 2 days.
Is Money B still alive?
He is, because I'm actually, so I did hit up Young Hump. I'm like, so can we get maybe get a song with you, me, and Money B? And he's like, you got to hit up Money B. So I'm thinking about hitting him up. I'm waiting to have I have the right song. I
Yeah,
actually
that'd be
started
fire.
writing a song today that I thought was going to be for them. Then I wrote the whole fucking thing, so now it's not. But we'll find a different one.
Bet.
But yeah, so I just
Cool.
think they're like, I don't know. They just really, Return to the Crazy One to me is my favorite song by Digital Underground. So that's the one that I think doesn't get heard as much, that I would recommend anybody check out. But I will say too, like this one to me is an emotional favorite. I mean, is I don't even know whether objectively you'd say it's their best album, but to me, it's like it always takes me back to a place. So be interesting to see what somebody who'd never had no emotional attachment to it thought. And the thing is too, the other thing that got me off guard is, so he did this little cartoon on the back, which is like a sort of a story. It's kind of hard to read, but there are all
Yeah.
these cartoons and all these, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll see if I can find the guy who like did the cartoons, and I look it up, and his name's like Rackadelic, and I go into my little Google machine. I'm like, oh, that's fucking Shock G too. Like motherfucker. He did like everything. Like he was like three characters. He was like every time like this, I find out someone else in that group is actually him. But I've rambled. What about you? What's your next one?
I bet.
See if I
So,
have it.
all right, we're gonna go. So Eminem got me into writing bars and like really getting my lyricism down. But I wasn't really good at writing like actual songs, right? I was just a straight up rappity rap motherfucker. So after I listened to this album, I was like, oh shit, I gotta get on my songwriting, bro. All the hooks, all this shit. And the guy that got me into that shit was fucking 50 Cent. So Get Rich or Die Trying, one of the, I feel like, even though he's not a lyricist, I feel like that album is one of the greatest albums of all time.
I have a
Like,
very
oh,
complicated relationship with that album, so I have it's a pleasure to talk about it. So
oh really?
yeah,
I bet.
you start off.
Well, yeah, like I just feel like the like the hooks are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
50 was one of the first guys to do more like melodic shit and still like keep it like fucking real.
You mean
And
not
like
Ja Rule? Like,
uh, yeah.
yeah, he was just
uh,
it was
I
yeah.
still fuck with Ja Rule though. I fuck
Yeah, but I like Ja Rule too, but like
but 50 was more like I don't know. I feel like with Ja Rule, it's like you gotta like kind of what like are they gonna fuck with this? I'm just gonna play 50 Cent.
yeah, because it's like Ja Rule is like, I mean, when him trying to call himself King of New York, which I don't know if he actually did or not, but it's like there was a time where he was like the hottest rapper in New York, and it's like it's one of those things where that's when the course correction has to happen, and you go all the way back to 50 Cent. It's like we've gotten this soft, so now we have to go this hard.
I mean, I feel like Ja kind of like was trying to he was kind of on the right track because like at that time you had to like have a certain confidence,
Yeah.
and even though like I mean 50 was dissing people, like he
God,
came out,
yeah.
yeah,
How to
he was just
rob.
like I'm a Jay-Z, yeah, fuck you, I'm king of this shit now. Fucking
Yeah.
I'm a diss Big Pun, I'm a diss Fat Joe, I'm a diss like I was just like
Lil
goddamn,
Kim, he dissed Lil Kim numerous times.
damn.
Jadakiss.
Jadakiss, yeah, like the whole locks, I think.
Yeah. I
Fucking
will say though, Jadakiss's diss Checkmate to 50 Cent is my favorite diss song of all time. I think he's that song, he comes out swinging.
damn. But I just like also 50 had like that swagger that Nelly had too, but more like, hard.
Yeah.
Like it was more like I don't know, bro. Every time I listen to 50 Cent, I feel like I'm a badass motherfucker. like,
Yeah.
like,
That song
like,
Heat, is it Heat the one that has the guns, the beats made out of gun sounds? The beat
I
the one the DA will the court, I'll kill you. I don't mind, I'll kill you. The DA can play this motherfucking tape in court because I'll kill you. I don't
I
mind
think
that.
I think that's right.
I think
I
that
don't know. It's been a
song
minute.
that yeah, I fucking man. So do you remember that? So you would have been only like maybe like 4 when that came out. So you probably so when
Yeah.
did you discover that album? Because I
Fucking
remember exactly where I was when I heard that album for the first time.
So yeah, I was into M. So like, and M and 50 were just like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah,
So
still to this
through
day, they're
M,
still very close.
yeah. So like when I was already a fan of Eminem, like, and 50 was just popular as fuck. Like he was one of the top guys. So I feel like I found out about that album. I think I was like 7, 8. I think so, like 7, 8. But yeah, he was just the hardest motherfucker. And like all my cousins, like they were like they got me into like hip hop. They were the ones that were showing me all these videos too. So fucking they were like, bro, like you fuck with Eminem, bro. Like, look at this 50 Cent guy. And I was just like, all right, it was I'm like, oh shit. And they were like, yo, he got shot 9 times? I was like, oh
Yeah,
fuck. Like he was like the most gangster motherfucker. So like, yeah, and bro, like the hook game on that shit is crazy. You got Nate Dogg on that album.
yeah,
Like, yeah, like it's just the way he structured his songs too. Like, even though he's not like, going crazy like M, the lyricism, he just knows how to like format that shit.
yeah.
Like,
That album is really well put together. I mean, I'd say more so than any other album he really put out. Like that album is well
yeah,
crafted. And so my relationship with that album was that I was a huge Eminem fan at that time. Was a huge, it was Biggie and Pac were already gone, huge fans of all their stuff. And it was like, there was just no that dried up. And it's like, I like Jay-Z, but I wasn't at that time as into him as everybody else. It just didn't feel the same. And for some reason, I believed that I don't know whether it was the marketing, but I really thought 50 Cent was like the next Tupac and like or the next Biggie. And like I remember hearing that album. So I remember I was on my way to Buffalo, New York. I was driving for 9 hours from Boston to Manhattan to pick up my friends Alex, who was on the show, and my other friend Evan, who was the Tom Cruise impersonator that was on the show before. And we were driving to Buffalo, New York to shoot a documentary. And it was cold as fuck. And that album had come out that day, and we listened to it on repeat the whole time. And I remember feeling disappointed, being like, oh, this was marketing. I remember immediately realizing, oh, this guy is not Tupac. He's not Biggie. This was something that was very well marketed, and I kind of bought into it. I immediately was like, I'm not really into this. And I kind of got very into the other direction of independent hip hop. And I kind of like hated on it for a while. And then he also sort of introduced like troll culture to a degree where like I can't really think that people would troll the way he trolled. And
yeah,
I've never been a troll, and I've never understood that. And so for years I was just like, this guy. Fuck this guy. And I'm like, I like the Hated or Love and G Unit remix. That's the exception that proves the rule. And I'm like, fuck this guy, can't act, can't rap, whatever. And then at some point, I read an interview with him where he showed a ton of humility, and I'm like, oh, this guy knew what he was doing all along. And like he's a really smart, kind of
yeah.
thoughtful, intelligent dude. And when I went back and listened to that album, I fucking loved it. And I'm like, oh, I'm a fucking idiot. Like I was just all in my own head because I'm like, that song, like
Yeah.
those songs, like for an album that I claim I didn't enjoy, I still remember like every song on it. And I remember it positively. Like that Heat song is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And like the thing is, too, Eminem had at least 1 or 2 songs in that. And like those aren't even the songs I remember. Like because I heard one of them the other day. I'm like, oh, I fucking forgot about that song. Like, because the 21 Questions was on that album too, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
And then Into Club and Wankster,
The
huge
club,
songs before the
Wankster.
album even come out. And like, so like, I have a big mea culpa apology for that album. I think it's really it's amazing, and I think it's an artistic achievement. It's not just a commercial success. Like I kind of
Yeah.
wrote it off as like a 22-year-old shithead. So
I
yeah,
mean, bro, the production on that shit is crazy too. Like
yeah.
those Dre beats. Like when in the club you hear those first like few drums and you're just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh shit. Like won't like yeah, that shit goes crazy. And then fucking one of my all-time favorite songs is Many Men. So like
Yes,
that
many
shit
men
is
were
like
strapped upon me.
bro, if you had to like give me a okay, let's make an like album of all your like life songs. like Many Men is on that album, bro. Like like all like if I died, like you gotta play Many Men at my funeral. Like I ain't no gangster, but it's just that song is like
Yeah.
defined like okay, I gotta get on my storytelling type shit. Fucking that shit is so fuck.
A lot of
I
people
don't know. To
forget
me,
the
that's a perfect
storytelling
song.
aspect of hip hop, like that it's big, and it's like it's a rich environment. Everyone's like, you got to keep it real, but it's like all you gotta do is tell a story, and you don't have to, it doesn't have to be about you. Just make it clear it's a story, or whatever. Some people get wrapped up in that shit. I pull up
Yeah.
the track list on this because I knew I was forgetting one. I think one of my favorites is on there. One of my favorite samples, and I can't think of the name of the record right now. It might actually be PIMP, but fucking PIMP is on this.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Fucking sample is insane. Like I
Wait,
that
is
the record that's from is so fucking dope. I wish I could remember the name of it right now. But
have you heard the remix with Snoop Dogg on there?
yes, I was trying to remember who was on the remix, but yes, it's Snoop and
Yeah.
there's someone else on it too. I think
Uh, Snoop.
I might be confusing them too.
Maybe it's Corrupt. I don't remember.
Because
It
50
might have been
Cent
Corrupt.
gave birth to one of my favorite, not gave birth, but like he paved the way for Lloyd Banks, who I think is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I used to think about as a wrestling fan, I think of 50 Cent as sort of like the world champ that can't wrestle. And I think of like Lloyd Banks as the intercontinental champion who really can wrestle. Like he's like HBK level shit. And like the other dude's like Hulk Hogan. He's like, I do just fucking leg drop. Like that's the way I thought of that shit.
I actually got into a debate with a guy over here. I remember I was talking about my most influential rappers, and I put 50 Cent on there, and they were like, "You put 50 Cent on your list?" I was like, "Yeah," and they were like, "Well, I mean, he's not really that great of a rapper," and I'm like, "Well, I know, like,
Yeah.
and fucking it's just the fucking songwriting. Like, I feel like that's its own category." Because there's some people that are not that great at rapping, but are great at making hip hop music, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah.
Like
A lot
Kanye
of
is
people
not
forget
out here
about
like
that.
spitting.
No,
Yeah,
but he writes he has, and I feel weird saying anything nice about him, but at this point, but like he writes good songs. He puts a few really memorable lines in them, and and he keeps the songs on theme. Like he's good
yeah.
at keeping everything in the right realm, and he has a few dope lines, and it's yeah.
I'm gonna bring something to this conversation because I just got into a heated like debate with one of my label mates
Yeah.
about this. And I want to know what you feel.
Yeah.
And the comment section might disagree with me because I've made a lot of people mad with this opinion.
Don't tell me your opinion
But
first. I don't want to influence. Is there a way that you can ask me without telling me what side that you're on?
not really.
Okay, then fucking
I
lay it
don't
on
think I
me then.
can.
All right.
All right. Uh, fuck it. All right. This is my opinion is fucking. I was talking to my friend Rains. He's my label mate, and Strange. And I was saying that we were talking about lyricism, and I was like, "Yo, I hate it when people get mad at me when I say this opinion," and they were like, "What's your opinion?" I was like, "Tupac is not a lyricist." And then they got fucking mad.
I
And
mean,
I was like,
he's not the example of a lyricist. Like I would say that
I,
like I wouldn't say he's like the anti-lyricist, but if you were to say
yeah.
give me an example of a lyricist, he'd be deep. He'd be pretty far down that list. He would not be one of
Like,
the first
okay,
ones.
I mean, I kind of
He
worded
the
that
dude
wrong.
would
So
write like five songs, and the guy would write songs
yeah,
you'd probably never even listen to again. He would just like write like
yeah,
5, 6. It's like he would. It was more like it was more like a water hose you couldn't turn off. That
yeah.
which is
I mean,
different.
I don't think I actually worded it like that because technically he is a lyricist because he does write great lyrics.
Right. Yeah. But I know what
But
you're saying.
he's not out rapping like Eminem or Nas
Right.
or
Big L.
like Big L,
Yeah.
Mos Def, Talib Kweli. Like these guys could like if you put Tupac in a cipher with these guys, he's not gonna have the illest verse.
Right.
Like he
Tupac
might
was
say the
was ultimate X Factor. He was like X Factor all the way. Like he was just
yeah.
the perfect combination of all the right factors.
Yeah, I mean I feel like he has I mean to be honest, I feel like he's the greatest hip hop artist of all time, but like he's not going bar for bar with a lot of people.
No.
And like people hate when I say that. And I love Tupac. I mean, he's on my hoodie. Like,
Right.
but I'm just saying, like, put him in a cipher or a battle, he might not come out on top.
And
But
that's
he's
the
a
perfect
messenger.
way to put it.
Yeah, he's a messenger, he's a poet, he makes great music. That's what Tupac is. You don't have to be a lyricist. I feel like there's another category right there.
Right.
Like,
You
I
know
feel
what's
like
actually yeah, go for it.
I feel like Tupac and like 50 are kind of like I know like that's kind of a weird comparison, but they're kind of in the same category where these guys are great songwriters and they can tell stories, but they're not doing it in the way of metaphors and double entendres.
Right.
Like
It's
they're
funny you
very
compare.
direct.
It's funny you compare them because like I had a similar experience with one piece of Tupac thing. Was I was always a huge Tupac fan. I have the gridlocked VHS on my wall over there, which is the Tupac movie that came out the week he passed away that I love. But he wrote a poetry book, and there was a poem in there about, and I remember kind of reading it at the time when I was like studying poetry in college and kind of almost mocking it, being like, this is so ridiculous. Like stick to it. And it was like there was a poem about a rose growing through the concrete. And that was sort of what it was based. It was the metaphor of like growing up in the ghetto, was that like you don't look at the rose that grows to the concrete and go, oh, the petal's kind of fucked up. You go, wow, it fucking grew. And as much as I at the time I thought that was tacky and corny, I've used that metaphor, I don't know, a million times in my life in so many conversations, both professionally and personally. And I'm like, oh, he came up with that when he was like in his 20s. And it's like I
Yeah.
passed it off as being like a Shel Silverstein wannabe or something, but I didn't realize that he actually created a very evocative, almost timeless imagery that sticks with me to this day.
Yeah. I mean,
I've
yeah,
sold a lot of people short when I was younger.
yeah, I mean, Tupac's a genius, bro. So all your old heads, I know you're gonna comment, yo, you got fucking Eminem on your list, fuck you, motherfucker.
No, but that is the thing that
You don't
people
know
do.
shit.
People do. Tupac is amazing, but people attribute stuff to him that I don't know that he always deserves. It's like, and it's not like,
Yeah.
and some of it comes from a lack of understanding and kind of who he is. And people like that's one point they make about Tupac is he spent like 5 or 6 years with Chalk G and Digital Underground, and like 9 months with like Suge Knight, and everybody remembers the Death Row stuff, but there was like most of his career was like prior to
Yeah.
that stuff. Like
Yeah, from like 92 to like 95. Like, yeah.
from him coming out of prison and signing to Death Row to him being gone was not that long of a time. Like, and it's funny, I do remember where it was when Tupac passed away. I was with my friend Matt, and we were putting up pink insulation in our high school English teacher's brother's stained glass studio in Shrewsbury, Mass. And he came in, was like, Tupac died.
Damn.
So I don't know. The only time I ever went to the Boston Garden before they tore it down, I was there at the Burger King there, and that's where I found out that Kurt Cobain killed himself. So I don't know.
Damn.
Fucking window open this bitch. Yeah. Okay. I just aim, score, and celebrate. Elevate. elevate. Electric, but money is what I generate. Illustrate, do nothing but draw. It's like I meditate, cause I be closing both of my eyes in all these different states. Intimidate, man, all these rappers about to know why you eliminate. Some of your dudes gon' have to go. Was the class clown, but now ain't no longer a joke. I'm like Nicola, the joke about to be one of them ghosts. Man, I'm too slick, your chick here giving me naughty looks. You boo thick, my huge dick is what your shawty took. Fight me, that's bullshit, I'll leave your body shook. You looking for a Tilly, homie, we can have a Donnybrook. Fuck your scrawny hook, homie, reconsider. You gon' feel like an alcoholic when these shots hitting your liver. A winner, homie, I'll put an end to these beginners. Wordplay in his palm, so you know I'm quick to deliver.
When they see my face, their skates feel like jelly. Cause when I'm on the ice, I'm all wheel snipe selly. When they hear me rhyme, their face seems so jelly. Cause when I'm on the mic, I'm all wheel snipe selly. When they see my face, their skates feel like jelly. Cause when I'm on the ice, I'm all wheel snipe selly. When they hear me rhyme, their face seems so jelly. Cause when I'm on the mic, I'm all wheel snipe selly. So finally, your girl decided to leave. While you grieve, she's on her knees, rapidly snacking keys, rather happily from 3 smiley steeds. You've likely seen high-fiving over Riley Reid, allegedly, but I digress. I'm here to chirp and chew bubblegum, cause none of you pheasants seem to be too troublesome. Regrettably, you ain't a threat to me or upsetting me, but further boys, you're getting cross-checked if you step to me. My weaponry is words, my lessons strike a nerve. Aggression to the herbs, you bet against my swerve. No one can hold the spitter, I could slap shot a glory hole. You cry cause your little sister ate your last Oreo. With these ABCs, I'm Letterman mixed with letter candy. Obviously, I'm the better man, flipping letters any day, anyway. Genius switch always on, can confirm Canada geezers are welcome on my lawn. When they see my face, their skates feel like jelly. Cause when I'm on the ice, I'm all wheel snipe selly. When they hear me rhyme, their face seems so jelly. Cause when I'm on the mic, I'm all wheel snipe selly. When they see my face, their skates feel like jelly. Cause when I'm on the ice, I'm all wheel snipe selly. When they hear me rhyme, their face seems so jelly. Cause when I'm on the mic, I'm all wheel snipe
your
selly.
dick sure sucks, so I'ma outdo it and take your bucks. Grin and spend it, stay independent like skateboard trucks. Fuck, my new CD's for sure late. Shit, I go to court late, 34 days past my court date. Fuck hungry, I'm starved after 4 steaks, and I'm after more cake, so pass me your plate. Happy birthday, I rap a verse straight until my lungs collapse in earthquakes or under maps of Earth states. So thunder at your bird's face, I'm Zeus, fuck a truce. Ain't no one in rap I heard say, my puns are mastered wordplay. I don't trust anyone, so fuck everyone. I'm annoyed, man, I'm drunk. Henny rum and puffed every skunk. Bet he's drunk, nah, I ain't even got a buzz. Swerving in suburban with bourbon, worse than I thought I was. Anyone ride with me, might as well jump right in a hearse. Drive to the church and dive right in the dirt.